Could the largest dinosaurs really hatch from eggs? A dinosaur weighing more than 50 tons could begin life inside an egg barely larger than a grapefruit. That sounds like trying to fit a truck inside a lunchbox. But the truck was not inside the egg yet. Only the instructions were. The largest dinosaurs did not hatch as giants. They entered the world small, fragile, and probably very easy to eat. So how did a hatchling weighing only a few kilograms become an animal longer than a basketball court? The answer begins with a problem every egg must solve. An eggshell has to be strong enough to protect the embryo, but it must also contain microscopic pores that allow oxygen to enter and carbon dioxide to escape. Make the shell too thin, and the egg breaks. Make it too thick, and the baby may suffocate. Then there is the final challenge. The shell must protect the baby for weeks or months, but become breakable on exactly the day the baby needs to leave. It is nature's version of a high-security door that must eventually be opened by someone with no key, no tools, and extremely tiny arms. This creates a difficult biological trade-off. A larger egg needs more support, but changes to shell thickness and structure can make gas exchange harder. Egg shape, pore density, humidity, and the nest environment all matter. So a giant dinosaur could not simply produce an egg scaled to its adult body. If it did, the result might be less miracle of life and more very expensive rock. Instead, sauropods used a different strategy. They laid relatively small eggs, often in large nesting areas. Fossil sites such as Auca Mahuevo in Argentina contain thousands of titanosaur eggs spread across a vast landscape. This suggests a reproductive system built around numbers. A sauropod mother was probably not placing one enormous egg in a nest and guarding it like the world's largest chicken. She could lay multiple eggs, distributing the risk across many offspring. And the risk was enormous. Eggs could be flooded, crushed, overheated, or discovered by predators. Even after hatching, the babies entered a world filled with animals that would have considered them less like future giants and more like convenient snacks. Most probably never reached adulthood. But evolution does not require every baby to survive. It only requires enough of them to survive. Those that did began one of the most extreme growth stories in Earth's history. A newborn sauropod was not simply a smaller adult. It lived in a different ecological world. It fed closer to the ground. It could hide in places an adult could not enter. It faced smaller predators and moved differently through its environment. As it grew, its role changed. The hatchling was prey. The juvenile became harder to attack. The adult became a moving fortress with a neck. Fossil bones reveal how quickly that transformation may have happened. Under a microscope, many sauropod bones show tissues linked to rapid growth and dense networks of blood vessels. Their skeletons were construction sites working at maximum speed. Food was the raw material. Sauropods consumed enormous quantities of vegetation. Their relatively small heads may have helped them gather food quickly without spending hours chewing every mouthful. They were not politely eating salad. They were processing landscapes. Their long necks increased the area they could reach without constantly moving their huge bodies. Air-filled spaces in parts of the skeleton also helped reduce weight. Each adaptation supported the others. Efficient feeding provided energy for growth. Rapid growth shortened the years when they were vulnerable. And once they became large enough, size itself became protection. A predator might attack a young sauropod. Attacking a fully grown one was a very different decision. Similar to looking at a building and wondering whether it could be lunch. But here is the strangest part. The largest known dinosaur eggs did not necessarily belong to the largest dinosaurs. Some giant oviraptorosaurs, much smaller than the biggest sauropods, produced eggs more than 40 centimeters long. Adult size and egg size were not connected in a simple way. Evolution was not trying to make the biggest egg. It was trying to make an egg that worked. A larger egg could give a baby more resources. But it required more energy and had to balance strength, breathing, temperature, and incubation. A smaller egg produced a more vulnerable hatchling. Yet it allowed a giant animal to lay multiple offspring without carrying each one inside its body until it became large. That may be the real secret behind the largest dinosaurs. They did not solve the problem of being born small. They used it. The egg allowed reproduction to happen first. Growth happened later, outside the mother, over many years. Their enormous bodies were not packed into the egg. They were assembled afterward, bone by bone, meal by meal, and narrow escape by narrow escape. The largest dinosaurs did not emerge from giant eggs. They emerged from ordinary eggs, and spent the rest of their lives becoming impossible.